Today I wanna continue with the challenge I set myself yesterday. I call it the Herzal's challenge because we are trying to streak in Herzal Cup after all. So yeah, the rules for the challenge are fairly simple. Get a win streak of 10 while rotating your champions around so that you play every champion exactly once. And the subclan is randomized. So yesterday we managed to win with the Homebreaker Prince. Let's continue today with the Sentient. So Awoken main clan, random ally clan, and let's see if we can keep the streak intact. Okay, these are quite powerful starting cards. We have Sharpen, Space Prism and Engraft. The Sharpen and the Engraft really wants me to go Explosive Sentient. We are up against Talos with Days, another good reason to go with the Explosive Sentient, I would say. We have Arcus with Days and Incan Darkshard. And we also have Seraph the Temperate with Zep. Hi RS Jackson! Today we are not playing the daily challenge, but instead continuing with the Covenant 25 streaking from yesterday. Hi Chris, welcome! Okay, so our secondary clan is Umbra Traditional with the Shade Splitters, not the Blinks. But for backline damage we do have the Sharpens, which are very, very good for that. First Hell Pact. We are Umbra secondary, we can make good use of this. We also have access to Awoken's Rail Spike in these clans, so I like it. Well, no explosive today. So what else? Can we go cultivating this early with this deck? Unlikely. Maybe possible with the Sharpens, but generally pretty unlikely. We'll go with Bristling. That might mean that our primary plan is gonna come from the allied clan, so Umbra. In this regard, because Bristling Sentient doesn't really play that well with Awoken cards. Awoken is all about backline clearing and defense. While we can use better defense for the Bristling Sentient quite well, the backline clearing aspect is not gonna be helpful because Sentient is already very good at clearing backlines anyways. How much damage do we need on this Forge Disciple? Just 5 will be enough, so they only hit us 2 times and we take 12 damage. Maybe I should have set up on the bottom floor. It's unlikely that I'll get the kill with the Sentient, but there was a chance. At least I can kill the Disciple Foot Soldier with the Sentient, so we're looking at 24 damage right now. That's a bit too much. But it's gonna be hard to change that number. If this were a more useful morsel, I would probably not play the Train Steward behind the Sentient here. Yet. and instead wait for the final train steward, just so I can feed some morsels to the Sentient here, but for this morsel it doesn't matter at all. Sharpens both in a single hand, that's a bit unfortunate, but it's still nice to have a sharpen at the very least. Although, the fact that I had Ember Morsel last turn makes me able to play this Sharpen, both the Sharpens actually. I kind of need a Lifesteal Morsel here, or maybe Damage Shield will do. Lifesteal is great. It gives us a lot more staying power against the boss. This guy's gonna hit us once, so we went down to only taking 18 damage from the original 24 I predicted we would likely take. That's good. Prevented 6 damage. While still taking the trial and getting the collector down. Sting, Razor Sharp Edge, Sharpen. Razor Sharp Edge seems quite solid. We don't want another Sharpen, of course. 2 are enough. Razor Sharp Edge is decent scaling. We can also use it to kill an enemy. This spell can reduce the unit's health to 0 and kill it. I think this is the first time I ever noticed that tip. Void Binding, Prismal Dust, Mind Collapse, and we do have the first Hell Pact. So these are very strong options here. Void Binding is a great card in general. Very powerful Ember Drain card. That could work well with any multi-striker, but especially with Animus of Will. It could also work well with a quick unit, for example, like Animus of Speed, or a Sweeper. So Ember Drain strategies can actually work very well with Awoken. Even though we do have the first Hell Pact, I think building around this Void Binding is good because we are not up. Oops, we are not up against Consume or Chased Seraph, so we don't have to worry about our damage shields and rage getting dispelled, or not being able to play Scorchers in that fight. And Arcus also doesn't have Scorchers or Blights because these are the 2 non-harvest seals. So basically everything's clear to just go Ember Drain here. Now if we do go Ember Drain, then a Shattered Shell could be a reasonable carry unit. Started behind the Sentient, well, things will die to the Spikes is the problem. And it's gonna be tough getting the Shattered Shell up to enough power where it actually kills frontliners, even with a good Ember Drain setup. I guess if we get multi-strike, that becomes a lot more achievable. It also depends on what kind of energy boost we have access to. I think I'm gonna take the Shattered Shell. And if I find something better, I can always purge it later. Now, Ember Drain requires us to get cost reductions whenever we can. And I think in this case that's not much different. I'll start with the cost reduction of Void Binding itself. The other upgrade we would want there is Holdover. I'm also gonna upgrade the Engraft so we have a bit of burst healing. Engraft can also provide us with energy when we are Ember Drained. Razor Sharp Edge is also an important cost reduction. I think I'll start with the engraft. That's a bit more important to me right now. And we are most likely not gonna want these restores. So I'm fine with upgrading one with consume. And it gives us another burst healing option once a fight, which can be quite helpful to keep our champion alive. That is Spike's channeler. We could set up on the bottom floor, but there's really no good reason to. Setting up on the second floor allows us to always get the collector if it spawns there, which will also be a slave for the Shattered Shell. Champion will take some damage, but we can't keep up regen anyways. It's time to start scaling. The frontliner survives, but that doesn't matter at all. Ah! I just stole the slaves from the Shattered Shell. Stupid mistake. If the Morsel Excavator attacks after the Shattered Shell, the Conduit Redirector will... No, he will already die to the Sentient. The engraft allows us to play a single card here. Probably a morsel. Keep the lifesteal going. Might as well increase the capacity further. Even with a razor sharp edge, we don't have enough damage to kill the Forged Disciple, so we will take 2 here. Can't really prevent that. But our champion is at full health with a stack of lifesteal, and we have a decent backliner behind them. We should be okay. Pretty close, the Sentient still dies, but we got the kill. Razor Sharp Edge, Restoration, Detonation and Steel Enhancer. Steel Enhancer is already 0 cost and it does help with using the Razor Sharp Edge. It's some scaling, it's not great, but I think I'll pick one up. Perils of Production versus Forever Consumed. Forever Consumed is a frontline nuke for 90 damage for 0 energy, and we can put in additional energy to increase the damage. That's really good. And I think it beats out Perils of Production in this deck for now. I do love Perils of Production, and it's great with Void Binding and any Ember Drain stuff. But I think we can build around not having it in this case. Let's take the Forever Consumed. These units are not better than a Shattered Shell in my opinion. Thorned Hollow could be argued to be better with the regen and healing we already have access to, but I'm not so certain that's actually the case. Yeah, in most situations I would have snapped picked Perils as well. Oh, we have Multi-Strike here. That's not a unit that really needs Multi-Strike though. We have stat buffs. We want the Animus to scale better. The other upgrade should probably be a large stone if we can afford that. Oh. I'm not sure if that's actually realistic. How about damage shield 3? Just to no, it won't protect her against spikes. Protecting her against spikes is gonna be difficult anyways. But a large stone will give her a high enough health pool that we can actually deal with spikes. Maybe we just have to not take spikes trials. I think that might be how we do this. Monster versus Spell Rail Spike. I think it's a Monster Rail Spike, just because the 25-28 Trained Yard is quite helpful right now. While 20 magic power on a restore doesn't make a huge difference at the moment. This is a good start. We definitely want to set up the top floor to let the rage on these guys run out. And also give us time so our sap can run out. The top floor is also now capacity reduced, so I can more easily use morsels on that floor as well. And I guess we can kinda have a buffer floor here. That just delays the enemy, well, weakens the enemies, softens them up with the Shadow Gel. Just gonna use this to block. My stat buffs are obviously going on Animus of Will. That just makes sense. We won't have problems with this wave. This wave should also be pretty easy to deal with. Yeah, the Shade Splitter might be worth 30 damage. I should have put it in front, maybe. Would have been a decent blocker. You know what, I'm also gonna block for the strong Train Steward and just take the 120 here. The extra 120 we dealt there makes me very confident that we can win against Talos in the Relentless phase. This only prevents 2 damage. The real damage is coming from Talos here. I think I'm just gonna use them for energy, right? Yeah, the 2 Sharpmans are still in the deck. Let's just use them for energy. A lot of damage coming in here on the top floor. But we are strong enough to kill everyone, especially after we start buffing up the Animus. Spikes go on the Animus as well, just because of the attack boost that's associated with them. That's overall more damage on the Animus than prevent 2 damage here, or deal 30 to the Disciple Protector. I guess prevent 2 is better. Might give us another turn against the boss. Lifesteal? Wait, that's not... Yeah, that's actually the best morsel I could find here, right? We should have an easy kill on the top floor here with our buffed up Animus. We can even heal our champion to full, so it was never even close. There we go. Always happy to make it past Talos. The first boss is oftentimes the scariest. Furnace Tap makes us even more powerful and goes in the same direction as some of the stuff we already have. Most notably the Void Binding. I kind of want to dupe the Void Binding now. I think that's more impactful than going to a Merchant of Magic with like 200 gold right now. 200 because there's another boost on the right side. Another stack of gold. Shade Splitters are really bad. Shadow Gel needs to go now. So we have Animus of Will in our opening hand. So we can start buffing them up really early on. Spikes 20 medals. But we already have spikes. And draw matters too. Draw does matter. I'm gonna take draw here. We need to draw into our void bindings as often as possible. We want to kill these on the bottom floor, I think. I just took a spike trial, right? Why did I do that? I told myself not to take spike trials. That means we have to split up our forces. I need some health buffs for the Animus of Will now. Otherwise they will die to spikes. And also means I can't use Razor Sharp Edge right now. Uh, 13 times 4. Uh-oh. We basically need Void Binding now. I might have to use Razor Sharp Edge so we get to a high enough attack that we don't have to hit this guy so many times. That's a dangerous game I'm playing here. But Spike Sentient does give me the tools to deal with a situation like that. Spike Sentient kills the backliner. Spike Sentient softens enemies up very well. She's great at buying time. This prevents the spike damage once. I can almost kill this Clip Guardian. The more time I have to build up early damage shields, the more realistically we'll have... we'll have enough damage shields on her to survive everything. But we can't have the enemies hitting her as well. The spikes are already bad enough as is. Yeah, there we go, problem. Not much I can do now. The 5 damage doesn't matter. $115, that leaves the enemy with 220 HP. Yeah, that kills me. I shouldn't have taken that spike trial, really shouldn't. I wonder if there's an alternate way, but I think I might have killed my chances here. Razor Sharp Edge is correct, because it helps me keep up the damage shields. This turn, maybe this turn is where I can optimize. I don't need Furnace Tap, just don't need it. I could double sharpen instead. Does sharpening on the bottom floor help? Kinda. Sharpening on the bottom floor actually makes a surprisingly large difference against these clipped guardians. Because I can now finish off this guardian. And that gives me one less of them that I have to deal with. That prevents 4 damage. Having 5 extra health is better than preventing 4 damage. And this kills the boss. Yeah, I should have done the math on that sharpen play, and I would have noticed. Gnarled Root. That's good. Friendly units gain +1 attack per stack of spikes. Bramble Ash is tempting. The problem is we can play it in Ember Drain. We can solve that problem with double cost reductions, but we already need cost reductions on Razor Sharp Edge. Maybe not that many more cards. Still, I don't think it's worth picking up. Nor are these. Mostly we need to get to a smaller deck so we can play our most important cards more often. Or have more of them in the deck. Tubing is still very strong. Yep, it is. Lightstone Casing has a lot of potential. Easy Gift of Gratitude, because we have the... Even though we are an Ember Drain deck, we do have the first Hell Pact. So... yeah. And the other cards aren't that great. Like, the Heaven's Gold wouldn't do much for us. Well, this ride should be doable. There are sweepers. But that's much more easily dealt with than spikes. Spikes are much worse. I just want the gold now. I won't often have energy to play that anyways. I love that engraft in this deck. This is a big game changer. Sentient doesn't matter anyway in this fight. I'll take a boon of the blacksmith. It has a realistic chance of preventing some damage. These cards don't help us with our strategy. Nor do these. I need removals. And I will get some this floor. Also relics. I think we should pick up the guild marker here. Cleansing water. Doesn't particularly matter against Arcus, and this Seraph doesn't matter against the Seraph at all. Unless it's Patient. Against Patient it can matter. No, it's Silence that matters against Patient, not the dispelling buffs. There's a good chance I can afford something here. But it's not guaranteed. Chance to apply Dazed when an enemy unit enters the train. Does that help? It sometimes does. I don't think it's worth 200 gold though. Shade Splitters and Restores are our priority to get out of the deck. Even though we do have trouble playing the Train Stewards. Sometimes we can play them. And we do cycle our deck enough times that it does make a big difference when we play them. Or if we play them, rather. That's nice. Now that we actually have some attack on the Sentient. Can't play the Furnace step. Never ever in this fight. But that's fine. Doesn't make a huge difference to us. We still need to build up quite a bit of power to actually win against Arcus because of his high stats. Looming Dark Shard on this floor. It's an issue. That is a problem. Not what I wanted to do with this turn, but my options were kind of limited there. But we have enough void bindings at this stage to win this fight. We have 16 damage shield on her. There's no way Arcus can do anything against us. Unleash the Wildwood. That would be a free heal. Umbra Stone isn't bad, but we don't really need it with the multi-strike 3 unit. And I could pick up another Forever Consumed. Free full heal, 90 damage for free. Either of these cards would be quite good in the deck. I think from this point onward we need more healing. I'll take the Unleash. It also means we can more easily cut other stuff, perhaps. It's time to get double stack on one of them. That's the real benefit of having the light casing in an Ember Drain deck. It's pretty great, to be honest. Chaos Portal, nice. That allows us to purchase another card for free. It's gotta be a Shade Splitter. Awoken's Rail Spike. Don't need a second one of these. That's too much. Hi, Dragotonitrua. Welcome. Glad you managed to get it to work. Okay. Our deck is now pretty small. That's good. Spikes 20 still matters, but not so much against the boss. I think I want the higher health. Because that boss is gonna deal a lot of damage to our units. With Shade Wings being around. Shade Wings with +8 attack. Well, the multi-strike doesn't matter because they will die on the first hit. I think we can take the +5 attack because we have the spikes. We have the damage shields. On our backliner at least. So yeah, I think we are well set up to deal with this challenge. I'm glad I have the Unleash the Wildwood in my deck now. That's gonna be quite helpful. Not on this turn though. I might have to spend some damage shields on the frontliner. That might be necessary. As long as we have the damage to kill everything. Against this wave, we need 2 hits against the Steel Wings. And then another 3 hits will be available against the backliner. There is a Steel Enhancer. So we can expect to deal 174 plus the spikes on my champion. Not quite enough to get the kill on the Gilded Wing. But I do need to keep my my champion alive. That is important. Oh, I could have played a restore and should have played it. But we should usually be able to heal them up every now and then, and with their high health total we should be fine. Although this wave is particularly nasty. Should probably make sure we are on full health for that wave. Well, we would have been anyways. That makes the next wave somewhat dangerous. But we have Void Binding, so we are fine. We even have multiple Void Bindings. Could actually have played that in front. A normal one for you, and then the double stacked one on the backliner. That also removes a bit of damage. Thank you, Drago. I'm doing well. Had an interesting day today. I'm working as a private tutor, and I had a new student today. These are always very interesting, very challenging moments also. Wildwood Tome. I would love to be able to include that. No, it's not necessary. I'm doing mostly math and physics, as well as Don't know how to say it, how that subject would be called in English, but it's basically like computer usage with Office and like general stuff like that, especially table calculations, so Excel and stuff. It's pretty important. Computer science, yeah, basically something like that. But computer science sounds like it's too high level to describe what I'm doing. We mostly care about the removals and the dupes here. Is it time to finally get out some train stewards? No, they're still better than restores. And it's all about void bindings here. Computer literacy. Yes. Yes, that's pretty much what it is. That describes it quite well. Maybe we can find... Firewall, iron drop. Firewall, I don't think I need, honestly. Septap is good. The rest goes into removals then. I'm happy to buy a couple of removals here. Shade Splitter definitely. The Sharpens... The Sharpens should go as well, right? Not necessarily. If we draw them early enough, you know what? Split the difference, remove one Sharpen and 2 Stewards. Leaves us with some gold. Which, the only thing we can really do is upgrade this Steward, but, you know. Could be worse. Let's move on. I'm not afraid of this boss at all. I think we are very well prepared to deal with this Seraph, the Temperant. Definitely set up on the top floor so we have maximum time to prepare for all the incoming waves. This is actually 8 attack, right? It only shows us 4 here. It shows us 8 on the backliner. Shouldn't it show us 8 on everyone because of null roots? Oh no, it doesn't because of the sap. That's interesting. The sap reduces the... How do you have 10 attack? The sap doesn't work on the null roots attack? You can't remove the null roots damage? That's... I didn't know it worked that way. But you know what? I am perfectly fine with it working that way. Still the Sharpman should go on the backline. In the end, against the Seraph fight, the backliner will also survive more Seraph hits because of the multiple double-stacked void bindings we're gonna play on them. I will never be able to play Werner's Tap this fight, huh? That's not entirely true, but it's extremely unlikely that I will ever be able to. It should probably just be that guy. We're not lacking damage to kill stuff. The only thing that we might be possibly lacking is defense to keep the Sentient alive. Which doesn't really matter in the end, but we need it to deal with these Shade Wings. We need the spikes. Just put the Train Steward in here as another buffer, so it takes longer for Seraph to reach our damage source. Let's heal up. We have such a small deck and so much draw that we are basically drawing into most of our good cards every single turn. And that's a really good position to be in with an Ember Drain deck, because that means you can really take advantage of your Ember Drain not being relevant and just stack it immensely high and gain huge benefits off of that. That should have gone on the bottom floor. We don't have the full heal this turn, but it's guaranteed next turn, so I don't need to apply damage shields to the Sentient. Can just keep buffing up my damage. We took out more than half the Seraph's health during flight. That is definitely very good. And we have 72 damage shields on our backliner. For some reason I feel like this fight is over. But how high can we go? 571 times 4? We already finished this fight in one turn. $644 times 4. That's good. Good numbers. Yeah. That was a good run. I was a bit worried about the run when I accidentally mindlessly took the spike trial. Yeah. That spike trial, that was very questionable. But Void Binding is just strong enough to carry us through that. Now, yeah, this is the card they nerfed the double stack for. This card was nerfed so many times. For a good reason, as you probably can imagine after seeing this run.